Release what drains you. There is something in your life right now that is slowly emptying you. You already know what it is. You have known for a while, maybe months, maybe years, maybe so long that you have stopped noticing the weight of it, the way you stop noticing a smell when you have lived with it long enough. But your body knows. Your energy knows. The version of you that shows up every morning, already tired before the day begins, that version knows exactly what is draining the life out of you. It might be a relationship, one that used to feel like home and now feels like a performance you are exhausted by, but cannot seem to stop giving. It might be a version of yourself you have been maintaining, an identity built for someone else's approval, a mask you put on so long ago you have almost forgotten there is a face beneath it. It might be a grudge, a resentment you have carried so carefully for so long that it has become part of how you define yourself, even though it has never once made you stronger. It might be a goal that stopped being yours somewhere along the way, a path chosen by the person you used to be, or by the expectations of people who will never have to walk it. Whatever it is you know, and the question is not whether you should let it go, the question is why you haven't. Today, we go into that question completely, through the lens of Stoic philosophy, through the honest examination of what holds us to what drains us, and through the practical discipline of learning to release what was never meant to be carried forever. This is one of the hardest conversations in all of human wisdom. Let us begin. Why we hold what hurts us. Before we can talk about releasing what drains you, we have to talk honestly about why we hold it. Because you are not irrational. You are not weak. You are not broken because you have not yet let go of what is costing you. You are human, and humans hold on for reasons, good ones on the surface, reasons that feel like loyalty, like responsibility, like identity, like love. The first reason we hold what drains us is familiarity. The mind, as the Stoics understood deeply, is a pattern-seeking system. It finds safety in the known, even when the known is painful. A painful familiar situation is neurologically processed as safer than an unknown, unfamiliar one, because at least you know what to expect. This is why people stay in dynamics that diminish them, not because they cannot see the damage, but because the damage is predictable. And predictability, to the part of your brain responsible for survival, feels like safety. Epictetus addressed this directly when he spoke about the chains we choose. He had lived in actual chains, had no choice about that, but he observed that free people chose invisible chains constantly and called those chains by names like loyalty, love, obligation, and identity. The chains are real, but so is the choice to examine them. The second reason we hold what drains us is sunk cost. You have already invested so much, years of your life, your emotional energy, your hope, your identity. The thought of releasing it feels like declaring that all of that was wasted, and the mind will do almost anything to avoid that conclusion, including continuing to invest in what is costing you, long past the point of any reasonable return, simply to avoid admitting the loss. The Stoics were ruthless about this. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the necessity of seeing the present clearly, not through the filter of what you have already spent, not through the story of what this was supposed to become, but through the unobstructed vision of what it actually is, right now, today. What is this right now, actually? Not what it was, not what you hoped it would be, not what it cost you to build it. What is it today? What does it give you? What does it take? That clear-eyed assessment, undistorted by what you have already invested, is one of the most difficult and most liberating acts of Stoic practice. The third reason we hold what drains us is identity. Some of what drains us has become part of how we answer the question, who am I? The role you play in a difficult relationship, the suffering you endure around a particular person or situation, the struggle you have made the centerpiece of your narrative. When these things become identity, releasing them feels like a kind of death. If I am not the person who endures this, who am I? If I let this go, what remains? This is perhaps the deepest fear underneath all holding on, and it is the fear that Stoic philosophy is most precisely designed to dissolve. The Stoic understanding of attachment. The Stoics had a word, prosoch, that roughly translates to attention or self-attention. It was the practice of watching your own mind with honesty, observing what you cling to and why, and examining whether your attachments serve your highest nature or simply serve your fear. They were not the first to identify attachment as a source of suffering.
That insight appears in human wisdom traditions across every culture and century. What the Stoics added was a particular clarity about what we should and should not attach to. They did not say, attach to nothing. They did not preach emotional distance from life or the cultivation of indifference to everyone and everything. What they said was far more specific. Attach to virtue. Attach to your own character. Attach to the quality of your choices. Everything else, hold lightly. This is the Stoic distinction between what they called preferred indifference and genuine goods. Your health is a preferred indifferent. You should pursue it, care for it, grieve when it is lost, but it is not the source of your well-being, because it can be taken. Your relationships are preferred indifference. You should love fully, invest deeply, show up completely, but your peace cannot depend on them, because people change, leave, and die. Your reputation is a preferred indifferent. You should act in ways worthy of respect, but you cannot make your inner security contingent on whether you receive it, because others' judgments are never fully in your control. Your work, your achievements, your plans, your circumstances, all preferred indifference, worth pursuing, not worth sacrificing your soul for. The only things worthy of genuine, unconditional attachment, the only things that cannot be taken from you against your will, are your own judgment, your own intention, your own character. Everything else you hold open-handed. And the things that are draining the life from you? The Stoics would ask a simple question. Is this a genuine good? Does holding this make you more of who you are at your best? Or is this a preferred indifferent that has been elevated through fear, through sunk cost, through identity, into something you are treating as necessary when it is not?
The answer to that question changes everything. What draining actually costs. Let us talk about the real price of carrying what drains you. Because many people intuitively understand that certain things cost them energy, but they do not fully reckon with what that energy would be worth if it were freed. Energy is not infinite. This seems obvious, but the practical implications are almost never taken seriously. Every relationship that requires you to be smaller than you are in order to function, every dynamic where you manage someone else's volatility, where you edit your truth to keep the peace, where you perform a version of yourself that is exhausting to maintain, that relationship is consuming resources. Resources that could be directed toward your growth, your creativity, your genuine connections, your vision for your own life. Every resentment you carry is an ongoing withdrawal from the same account. Marcus Aurelius wrote with characteristic precision, "How much more damage anger and grief do to us than the things that caused them?" Read that slowly. Not the thing that hurt you, not the person who wronged you, not the failure or the loss or the betrayal. The anger and grief about those things, the carrying of them, the rehearsing of them, the maintenance of them as open wounds in your interior life, that is what does the damage. And it does it continuously, long after the original event has ended. The person who wronged you has moved on. Their life continues. Their sleep is undisturbed. And you are still paying, daily, for something that happened in the past with energy that belongs to your present. This is not a moral argument about forgiveness. This is an accounting. You are spending what you cannot afford to spend, and you are spending it on something that gives you nothing back. The Stoic question is not, do you deserve to be angry? Of course you might. The Stoic question is, does being angry serve you? Does it make you clearer, stronger, more aligned with who you want to be? Or does it drain the very resources you need to build the life that would actually make the past irrelevant? The same logic applies to relationships, to goals that no longer fit, to identities that were never truly yours, to versions of the future you have been protecting past the point where protecting them makes sense. Every one of these things costs something, and the cost is paid in the currency of your aliveness, the finite, irreplaceable energy of a human life that is passing whether you are using it well or not. The Stoic practice of release. Stoic philosophy is never content with diagnosis alone. It always moves toward practice, toward the concrete question, given what we understand, what do we do? Here is what the Stoics taught and what the evidence of human experience confirms about the actual practice of releasing what drains you. The first practice is honest inventory. You cannot release what you have not clearly seen. Most people live in a kind of fog about the actual costs of what they are carrying. They have a vague sense of being drained, but they have not sat down and looked honestly and directly at the ledger. The Stoic practice of prosoche, self-attention, begins here. Take the relationships in your life and ask, without flinching, when I leave this person's presence, do I feel more like myself or less? Do I feel expanded or contracted? Do I feel seen or performed at? These are not cruel questions, they are honest ones.
And the answers you already carry in your body if you let yourself feel them without immediately explaining them away. Take the commitments, the roles, the identities, and ask the same. Does this reflect who I actually am or who I decided I was at a time when I knew less? Does this serve my genuine values, or does it serve my fear of what happens if I let it go? Take the grievances, the resentments, the wounds you have carried, and ask, what is the continued maintenance of this costing me? Not what it cost me when it happened. What does it cost me today to keep it alive, to keep it current, to let it continue to shape how I see the world and move through it? Write it down if you need to. The act of putting honest language to these things removes the fog. And clarity, however uncomfortable, is always the beginning of freedom. The second practice is separating the story from the fact. One of the Stoics' most powerful insights is that most of what we suffer is not caused by events. It is caused by the stories we tell about events. This is not dismissive of real pain. Real things happen. Real losses occur. Real harm is done. But between the fact and the suffering, there is always a story, and the story is always yours, which means the story can be examined, questioned, revised, released. The story of a relationship that ended might be, I was not enough. Or it might be, we were not right for each other. Same fact, completely different story. And those two stories produce completely different people going forward. The story of a failed project might be, I am someone who fails. Or it might be, that approach did not work, and now I know. Same fact, different story, different future. The story of a wrong done to you might be, I am owed something that I will never receive, and until I receive it, I cannot be whole. Or it might be, something unjust happened. I do not need the perpetrator's acknowledgement to determine the quality of my own life. The Stoics are not asking you to pretend the fact did not happen. They are asking you to own the story, because you are already telling one, whether you know it or not, and the story you are telling is either keeping you trapped or setting you free. The third practice is voluntary release, what the Stoics called letting the hand open. Epictetus used a beautiful metaphor. He said that our relationship to the things we value should be like holding a precious object in an open hand, not a closed fist. The open hand can appreciate what it holds, can feel its weight and warmth, can care for it genuinely. But when the time comes for it to go, when it falls or is taken or simply must be released, the open hand lets it go without tearing itself apart in the process. The closed fist clings, and when what it clings to is taken, the fist tears open with it. The practice of voluntary release is the practice of slowly, deliberately opening the fist.
This is not done all at once. It is not a dramatic gesture of letting go. It is a daily practice of reminding yourself, I am not this. I hold this, but I am not this. It can leave, and I will still be here. I will still be myself.
For relationships, I love this person, and my love for them is not contingent on them remaining in my life in the form I need them to be. For goals, I have pursued this with genuine effort, and if it does not come, I will not be diminished. I am not the achievement. I am the person who reached for it with integrity. For resentments, what was done was wrong, and I am releasing the carrying of it, not because it was not wrong, but because I need my hands free for what comes next. The fourth practice is redirecting the freed energy. Release, in the Stoic framework, is never purely subtraction. It is always also addition. When you release what drains you, energy returns, attention returns, presence returns, creativity returns. The Stoics believed that this returned energy had a natural direction, toward virtue, toward growth, toward genuine contribution, toward the life that reflects your deepest values. But direction requires intentionality. If you release what drains you and simply leave the space empty, something else will fill it, often something equally draining, because the same patterns that drew you to the first thing will draw you to its equivalent. This is why release must be paired with redirection. What will you invest the returned energy in? What relationships, what work, what practices, what growth actually reflects who you are trying to become? The answer to that question should be ready when you release, not as pressure, not as a replacement habit formed to avoid the discomfort of transition, but as a genuine intention, a direction that is yours, that came from your actual values, that you chose with the clarity that only comes from putting down what was too heavy to let you think straight. The relationships that drain you. We need to spend specific time here because this is where the practice is hardest and the resistance is greatest. Some of you are carrying relationships that are costing you more than you can afford to pay. And the difficulty is that these are often not relationships with obviously bad people. They are not always abusers or manipulators or people of clear ill intent. Sometimes they're simply people whose energy is consistently incompatible with your growth. People who, through their own unexamined pain, their own unresolved patterns, their own fear of your becoming more than you were, consistently pull you toward the version of yourself you were trying to leave behind. Sometimes they are people you love deeply who simply cannot meet you where you are going. And sometimes, this is the hardest truth, they are people who need a version of you to stay the same in order to maintain their own sense of stability. And your growth, your evolution, your commitment to becoming more fully yourself threatens that stability in ways they may not even be conscious of. The Stoic question in these situations is not, is this person good or bad? The question is, who do I become in this relationship? Who am I after spending sustained time with this person? Am I more or less aligned with my values? Am I growing or contracting? Am I moving toward the life I want or away from it? These questions are not designed to justify cold abandonment of everyone who challenges you. Challenge is not the same as drain. Conflict is not the same as incompatibility. Difficulty is not the same as damage. The distinction the Stoics would draw is this. Does this relationship call forth my best self, even when it is hard? Or does it consistently call forth a diminished self, a reactive, defended, performing self, regardless of my effort? The first kind of hard relationship is worth everything you put into it. The second kind, no matter how much history it contains, no matter how much you love the person, no matter how much you have already invested, is a drain you cannot afford indefinitely. And releasing it, gradually, honestly, with care for both people, is not betrayal. It is wisdom. It is the recognition that you cannot pour from an empty vessel, that loving someone does not require you to be depleted by them, that sometimes the most honest and caring thing you can do for a relationship is to stop maintaining a version of it that is not true. Releasing the identity that no longer fits. This may be the release that nobody talks about,
Not a relationship, not a resentment, not an old goal, but a self. The version of you that was built to survive circumstances you are no longer in. The identity that was constructed to meet expectations that were never truly yours. The character you developed as a child or a young person in response to an environment that required it, and that you have continued to wear long past the point where it serves you. The Stoics had a concept called catharsis, a clearing, not just of possessions or commitments, but of accumulated false self. The layers of performance, defense, adaptation, and pretense that accumulate over a life lived partly in response to what others needed you to be. Underneath those layers, they believed, was something genuine, something that does not need to perform, something that is simply, with radical simplicity, itself. The work of releasing the identity that no longer fits is the work of returning to that genuine thing. It begins with noticing the performances, the tone of voice you use that is not quite your own, the opinions you express that you have never actually examined, the ambitions you chase because they were handed to you rather than chosen, the fears you maintain because they were taught, not tested. None of these need to be torn away violently. The Stoic approach is gentle and clear. Simply stop feeding them. Stop choosing them. When the performance arises, notice it, name it, and ask, is this actually me, or is this a learned adaptation that I no longer need? The self that remains after this clearing is smaller, in a certain sense, less armored, less defended, less impressive in the way that performance can be impressive. But it is yours, and it is alive in a way that performance never is. And when you move through the world from that genuine place, when you have released the version of yourself that was draining you through the sheer effort of maintenance, you will discover something that the Stoics promised and that experience confirms. Authenticity is not a vulnerability. It is the deepest form of power available to a human being.
What remains after release? People are afraid of release because they are afraid of what comes after. They imagine emptiness, a void where the familiar thing used to be, a silence that might be loneliness, a space that might be loss. And there will be some of that. The Stoics did not promise that release was painless. Marcus Aurelius wrote about loss with full feeling, the loss of people he loved, the loss of versions of the future he had imagined, the loss of certainty in the face of the empire's demands. He felt the losses. He honored them. He wept when weeping was the honest response. And then he returned to the work. Because what the Stoics knew, and what every person who has genuinely released what was draining them eventually discovers, is that the void does not stay empty. Life, in all its genuine richness, moves into the space you create by letting go of what was blocking it. The relationships that had no room to grow because your energy was consumed elsewhere begin to deepen. The creative work that had been waiting beneath the surface of your exhaustion begins to emerge. The clarity about who you actually are and what you actually want, clarity that was impossible when you were managing the drain, begins to arrive. Quietly at first, then with increasing certainty. The mornings become different, not magically easier, but genuinely yours in a way they were not before. You wake up and the first sensation is not the weight of what you are managing. It is, and this might be something you have not felt in a long time, the open possibility of the day. This is what the Stoics called eudaimonia. It is often translated as happiness, but that is too shallow a translation. It means, more precisely, the flourishing of the spirit, the full expression of your genuine nature in alignment with your deepest values. It is not a feeling that arrives when circumstances are perfect. It is a condition that becomes possible when you stop spending your life on what drains it. You cannot flourish while you are being emptied. You can only flourish when you are free. The courage this requires. I want to be direct with you about something. Everything we have covered today is, in principle, simple.
The Stoic analysis is clear. The practices are available. The logic is sound. And yet, release is one of the hardest things a human being can do. Not because it is complicated, but because it requires something that is genuinely rare. Courage. Not the dramatic courage of the battlefield. The quiet, grinding, daily courage of choosing the true thing, even when the familiar thing is right there, available, offering its particular comfort of the known. The courage to disappoint someone rather than diminish yourself. The courage to walk away from something you have invested years in when the honest accounting says the investment is no longer serving your life. The courage to say to yourself, in the privacy of your own honest examination, this is not working. This is not right. This is not mine anymore, and I am going to put it down. The courage to feel the grief of release without using the grief as a reason to go back. Marcus Aurelius returned to courage constantly in the Meditations, not because he found it easy, but because he found it necessary. Because he understood that the good life, the genuinely good life, not the comfortable life or the performing goodness life, required continuous acts of choosing what was true over what was easy.
Every time you choose to release what drains you, you are making exactly that choice. You are saying, I will not sacrifice my genuine life for the management of what was never truly serving it. That is not selfishness. It is the deepest form of self-respect. And self-respect, the Stoics were clear about this, is not indulgence. It is the foundation of everything that is actually good that you will ever build or give or become. Here's what I want to leave you with. You are not meant to be empty. You are not meant to move through your days in a state of permanent depletion, giving what you do not have, maintaining what is costing you everything, carrying weight that was never yours to carry indefinitely. You are meant to be full, not with things, not with the performance of a life, but with the genuine energy of a person who has chosen what they carry, who has examined what they hold and decided with clarity and courage that what remains is worth every bit of what it takes. The Stoics did not promise that life would be easy. They promised that it could be yours, that through the discipline of attention, the courage of release, and the daily practice of aligning your actions with your genuine values, you could live a life that feels like your own from the inside out. That life begins with the willingness to put down what is emptying you. Not tomorrow, not when it feels less scary, not when you have a perfect plan for what comes after. Now, with the courage available to you today, with the clarity you already have. Subscribe to Stoic Ascension. Turn on your notifications, because every video on this channel is built for exactly this work, the real work, the interior work, the work that changes not just what you do, but who you are. The next video is waiting, but right now, sit with what you already know needs to be released. You have known long enough. It is time to put it down. The power of staying single until you master yourself. Have you ever wondered why so many people rush into relationships only to lose themselves in the process? The truth is simple. Most people are searching for someone else to complete them before they have completed themselves. The Stoics taught a different path. They believed that true strength comes from self-mastery. Before you can build a healthy relationship with another person, you must first build a strong relationship with yourself. Staying single is not a punishment. It is not loneliness. It is not failure. It is an opportunity. An opportunity to become the strongest version of yourself. When you stay single and focus on self-mastery, you gain something rare in today's world: clarity. You begin to understand your emotions. You learn how to control your impulses. You discover what truly matters. Most people fear being alone because silence forces them to face themselves. But the Stoic welcomes solitude. Solitude is where character is forged. It is where discipline is built. It is where purpose becomes clear. While others spend their energy chasing validation, the wise spend their energy building value. They improve their mind. They strengthen their body. They develop their skills. They build their future. The strongest individuals are not desperate for attention because they have learned how to enjoy their own company. When you master yourself, you stop needing constant approval. You stop seeking happiness from external sources. You become emotionally independent. This independence is power. The Stoic philosopher believed that freedom begins when you stop being controlled by things outside your control. This includes people's opinions, their approval, their rejection, their presence, and even their absence. Many people enter relationships hoping to escape loneliness, but loneliness cannot be cured by another person. It can only be cured by learning to be at peace with yourself. If you cannot enjoy your own company, no relationship will permanently solve that problem. Master yourself first. Build your confidence first. Develop your purpose first. Create a life you are proud of first. Then, if a relationship enters your life, it becomes a complement to your happiness, not the source of it. There is incredible power in delayed gratification. The ability to wait. The ability to say no. The ability to focus on long-term growth instead of short-term pleasure. Every day you invest in yourself, you become stronger. Every book you read expands your mind. Every workout strengthens your body. Every challenge you overcome strengthens your character. This is the path of self-mastery. The path is not easy. There will be moments when you feel isolated. There will be moments when you question your journey. But remember this: the oak tree grows slowly. The diamond forms under pressure. Greatness is never rushed. The strongest men and women understand that becoming valuable is more important than appearing desirable. Instead of asking, "Who will love me?" ask, "Who am I becoming?" Instead of seeking attention, seek excellence. Instead of chasing people, chase purpose. Purpose creates confidence. Confidence creates discipline. Discipline creates freedom. And freedom creates peace. The world teaches people to fear being single. The Stoic teaches people to fear wasting their potential. Because time is limited. Your energy is valuable. Your future is being shaped by the choices you make today.
Do not waste years seeking validation from others. Invest those years in becoming extraordinary. Learn new skills, develop wisdom, build financial stability, strengthen your mind, strengthen your character. Become someone who stands firmly, regardless of circumstances. Then, whether you remain single or enter a relationship, your happiness will never depend on another person. It will come from within. That is true power. That is true freedom. That is true self-mastery. The goal is not to stay single forever. The goal is to become so complete within yourself that any future relationship becomes a choice, not a necessity. Master yourself first. Everything else comes after. Why most people fear being single? Most people are not afraid of being single. They are afraid of facing themselves. When there is no relationship, no distractions, and no constant validation from others, you are left alone with your thoughts. For many people, this is uncomfortable. They discover insecurities they have ignored for years. They discover weaknesses they have hidden from the world. They discover fears that have been buried beneath endless distractions. But this discomfort is not your enemy. It is your teacher. The Stoics understood that growth begins where comfort ends. Every weakness you identify becomes an opportunity for improvement. Every fear you confront becomes weaker. Every insecurity you face loses some of its power over you. This is why solitude is so valuable. It reveals the truth. And the truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is the beginning of transformation. A person who cannot sit alone for 1 hour often spends years making poor decisions simply to avoid loneliness. They stay in unhealthy relationships. They tolerate disrespect. They sacrifice their values. They settle for less than they deserve. Not because they are weak, but because they fear being alone. The Stoic refuses to be controlled by that fear. They understand that temporary loneliness is far better than permanent regret. They understand that a peaceful life alone is better than a chaotic life with the wrong people. They understand that self-respect is worth protecting at all costs. When you master solitude, you become difficult to manipulate. You no longer accept poor treatment simply because you fear losing someone. You no longer lower your standards for temporary companionship. You no longer betray yourself for acceptance. Instead, you become grounded, centered, strong. You become a person who chooses relationships wisely rather than desperately. And that changes everything.
Build a life that attracts respect. While others are distracted by chasing attention, focus on building yourself. Build your knowledge. Build your health. Build your discipline. Build your character. The world often celebrates appearances. The Stoic celebrates substance. Anyone can appear successful for a moment, but true strength comes from what happens when nobody is watching. Can you remain disciplined without applause? Can you continue working without recognition? Can you improve yourself without immediate rewards? If you can, you possess a rare quality. You possess self-control. And self-control is one of the greatest forms of power. The disciplined person is not controlled by emotions. They are not controlled by impulses. They are not controlled by temporary desires. They make decisions based on principles. This is what separates ordinary people from extraordinary people. One group follows feelings, the other follows purpose. One group seeks comfort, the other seeks growth. One group wants quick rewards, the other invests in a better future. The choice is yours. Every day presents a new opportunity to become stronger, a new opportunity to improve, a new opportunity to master yourself. The relationship you have with yourself matters most. Think about this. You will spend every second of your life with yourself. Every success, every failure, every challenge, every victory. You cannot escape yourself. So why not become someone you respect? Why not become someone you admire? Why not become someone who inspires confidence and pride? Many people spend years trying to impress others. Very few spend years trying to improve themselves. The Stoic chooses self-improvement, not because they are selfish, but because they understand that the quality of their life depends on the quality of their character. A weak character creates suffering. A strong character creates freedom. And freedom is one of the greatest rewards life can offer. When you master yourself, you stop chasing happiness. You create it. You stop depending on others for confidence. You build it. You stop waiting for motivation. You develop discipline. This is the transformation that occurs when you embrace solitude and use it wisely. You stop becoming a victim of circumstances. You become the architect of your future. That is the power of staying single until you master yourself. And that power can change your entire life. If you are committed to becoming stronger, wiser, and more disciplined, subscribe to Stoic Ascension and join us on the path of self-mastery. Every lesson brings you one step closer to the person you were meant to become.
A new life. What if today was the day everything changed? Not next month. Not when the circumstances align. Not when you finally feel ready. Today. What if the difference between the life you are living right now and the life you have always known you were capable of was not years of effort, not a dramatic stroke of luck, not the right opportunity finally arriving, but 7 decisions, 7 rules, applied today with intention, with honesty, with the quiet, fierce commitment of someone who has finally decided they are done waiting? The Stoics were not dreamers. They were builders, architects of character, engineers of the inner life. And what they built
over thousands of years of philosophy, failure, reflection, and practice, was a set of principles so precise, so practical, so deeply aligned with the truth of how human beings actually work, that the people who lived by them became legends. Not because the world handed them ease, because they built something inside themselves that no circumstance could destroy. Today, that building begins for you. This is your new life. It starts now. There is a moment that happens for some people, not all, but some, where something shifts. It is not always dramatic. It does not always arrive with clarity. Sometimes it comes quietly, in the middle of an ordinary day, as a feeling you cannot quite name. The feeling that the life you are living is not the life you are meant to live. That somewhere between who you are right now and who you were built to become, there is a gap. And that gap has been growing, quietly, slowly, while you were busy surviving the day. If you felt that feeling, if you feel it right now, then this video is for you, because the Stoics understood that feeling. They did not dismiss it as restlessness or ingratitude. They recognized it for what it is, a calling. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Not tomorrow, not when conditions improve, now." Today, you're going to receive 7 Stoic rules, not theories, not abstract philosophies, but living principles that you can apply before this day ends. And if you apply them, genuinely, honestly, with the full weight of your intention behind them, your life will not look the same by the time you go to sleep tonight. Not because magic happened, because you decided. And that decision is the most powerful force in the universe. Rule 1. Decide who you are before the world decides for you. Every single day, the world is trying to tell you who you are. Your past is whispering that you are your failures. Your environment is suggesting that you are your circumstances. The people around you are projecting onto you the version of you that is most convenient for them. And if you have not decided clearly, deliberately, unshakably who you actually are, you will absorb all of it without question. The Stoics called this the examined life, and they considered living without it the deepest form of poverty a human being could experience. Marcus Aurelius began every single day with the same practice. Before he spoke to anyone, before he made a single decision, before the empire demanded his attention, he returned to himself. He asked, "Who am I today? What do I stand for? How will I show up when tested?" He was not leaving those questions for the world to answer. He was answering them himself, first, every morning. This is where your new life begins. Not with a new routine,
Not with a new goal, with a new answer to the oldest question, who are you? Not who were you, not who did people say you were, not who do your failures suggest you might be. Who are you choosing to be today, deliberately, on purpose? Write it down if you need to. Speak it out loud if that makes it real. But decide it, claim it, own it, before the world gets the chance to assign it to you. Because the person who knows who they are cannot be told they are something less. And that certainty, that quiet, unshakable self-knowledge, is the foundation upon which everything else in this video is built. Rule 2. Accept this moment completely. Then, change it. Here is the rule that trips most people up. Because on the surface, it sounds like contradiction. Accept everything and change everything. How can both be true? The Stoics resolved this with a distinction so precise it will permanently alter how you relate to your life. There are 2 categories of reality: what has already happened and what is yet to happen. What has already happened is fixed, permanent, unchangeable. Every moment of your past, every circumstance you currently find yourself in, every consequence of every choice that has already been made, that is the territory of acceptance. Not because it is all good, Not because it does not hurt, not because justice has always been served, but because resistance to what is already true costs you everything and changes nothing. Epictetus, who was born a slave, beaten, and left with a permanent limp by his master, did not spend his life in bitterness over what had been done to him. He accepted it completely. And from that complete acceptance, he became the most free man in Rome. He wrote, "Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life." This is not passivity. This is the most active thing you can do. Because the person who is not fighting against what already is has all of their energy available for what can still become. Accept your starting point completely. Accept your past completely. Accept the current state of your life not as a final verdict, but as the honest ground beneath your feet. And from that honest ground, with all of your energy freed from the war against what cannot be changed, build. Today, with everything you have. This is how a new life begins, not by denying the old one, by accepting it fully and choosing from inside that acceptance to move forward. Rule 3. Guard your morning like your life depends on it. The Stoics were unanimous on this. How you begin your day determines the quality of everything that follows. Not because mornings are magical, because the morning is the only time in the entire day when the world has not yet made its demands on you, when you have not yet been reactive, when your mind is closest to its natural state, rested, open, capable of genuine clarity. And most people hand that time away immediately, to the phone, to the news, to the notifications, to the chaos of everyone else's agenda arriving before they have even established their own. Marcus Aurelius wrote every morning, before the court convened, before the generals arrived, before the empire needed him. He wrote to himself, for himself, to remind himself of who he was and what he stood for. Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life."
Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. Balance life's books each day, before the day begins. Your morning practice does not need to be long. It needs to be yours. 10 minutes of silence. 10 minutes of journaling. 10 minutes of reading something that strengthens your mind. 10 minutes of movement that wakes your body with intention rather than obligation. The specifics matter less than the principle. Before the world gets you, get yourself. Decide in the first moments of your day who you are choosing to be, what you are choosing to focus on, what matters and what does not. Do this today, not perfectly, just intentionally, and notice what changes in the hours that follow. Rule 4. Do the thing you have been avoiding. Here is the rule most people will skip, and it is the rule that will change their life the fastest. Somewhere in your mind right now, and I know this because it is true for every human being, there is a thing, a conversation you have been postponing, a decision you have been circling, a project you have been waiting to start, a truth you have been afraid to speak, a step toward the life you want that you have been finding every reason not to take. That thing, the Stoics called the avoidance of it akrasia, acting against your own better judgment. Knowing what you should do and choosing not to do it. Not out of genuine consideration, but out of fear dressed as practicality. And Epictetus was brutal about it. He said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, do the thing. Even if you look foolish doing it. Even if you fail at it. Even if the outcome is not what you hoped. Because the cost of doing it, however uncomfortable, is always lower than the cost of continuing to carry it undone. That undone thing is heavy. You may not feel its weight consciously, but it is there.
It is the background hum of low-grade anxiety that follows you through your days. The quiet voice that says you are not someone who follows through. The accumulated evidence your mind collects that you cannot trust yourself. Every time you avoid it, you confirm that story. Every time you do it, you break it. Today, not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Today. Identify the thing. Name it clearly, and take one step toward it before this day ends. One step, not the whole journey. One step. That is how a new life is built. Not in grand gestures, in small, courageous acts of following through. Rule 5. Choose peace over being right. This rule will cost you something, and what it costs you is worth every penny. The Stoics were deeply interested in conflict, not in how to win it, but in how to transcend it. Because they understood something that most people never learn until far too late in life. Being right is almost never worth what it costs you. Think about the last time you were in conflict with someone. A disagreement, a confrontation, a situation where you knew, clearly, certainly, that you were right and they were wrong. How much energy did you spend holding that position? How much of your peace did you sacrifice on the altar of being correct? And in the end, did being right change anything that mattered? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" The cause of the argument may have been small. The consequence, the hours of rumination, the damaged relationship, the energy spent, the peace surrendered, was enormous. Choosing peace is not weakness. It is the most sophisticated form of strength. It means you have decided that your inner state is worth more than your position in an argument. It means you have decided that the relationship or your own equanimity matters more than being validated. It does not mean accepting injustice. It does not mean suppressing your truth. It does not mean allowing yourself to be mistreated. It means choosing consciously and deliberately which battles are worth your peace. Most of them are not. Today, find one situation in your life where you have been holding a position at the cost of your peace. One argument still running in your head. One resentment you have been feeding. And ask, is being right here worth what it is costing me? If the answer is no, release it. Not for them, for you. Because peace is not the absence of conflict, it is the presence of a mind that has decided what it will and will not give its energy to. Rule 6. Be grateful with the ferocity of someone who almost lost everything. The Stoics practiced gratitude differently than modern culture teaches it. It was not a gentle morning ritual of listing pleasant things. It was a fierce, disciplined confrontation with how much they stood to lose, and the radical appreciation that arose from that confrontation. They called it negative visualization, the deliberate imagining of loss, not to create fear, but to create presence. Marcus Aurelius would think about losing the people he loved, not to dwell in grief, but to feel fully how much they meant to him right now, while they were still here, while there was still time. Epictetus taught, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Rejoices. Not notes with mild appreciation, rejoices. Think about what you have right now. Your mind, the ability to think, to choose, to change. Your body, imperfect, perhaps in pain, but alive and capable. Someone who loves you, or has loved you. The fact that you are watching this video, which means you have not given up on yourself. These are not small things. They are everything. The person who has genuinely reckoned with what it would mean to lose their sight, their health, their freedom, their loved ones, and then return to the present with that reckoning alive inside them, that person does not walk through their day the same way. They move differently. They speak differently.
They treat the people around them differently because they are awake to what they have. Today, before you sleep, think of 3 things you would be devastated to lose, and then feel genuinely the fortune of still having them. Not as a ritual, as a reckoning. That reckoning is the foundation of a peaceful life. Rule 7. End today as the person you are becoming.
Every day has an ending, and most people end their days the same way they began them, unconsciously, collapsing into sleep without reflection, without intention, without any deliberate acknowledgement of who they were today and who they are choosing to be tomorrow. The Stoics ended their days with a practice called the evening review. They sat quietly, honestly, and they examined the day that had passed, not to judge it, to learn from it. Seneca wrote, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, aware of the habit that's now mine, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by." Hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by. He was not soft on himself, but he was also not cruel. He reviewed his day the way a good mentor would review a student's work, with honest eyes and a genuine desire to see growth. Ask yourself tonight, where did I show up as the person I am becoming? Where did I fall short? And what does that teach me? What will I carry forward into tomorrow? This practice, done consistently, done honestly, creates something extraordinary over time. It creates a person who is in continuous, conscious, deliberate evolution. A person who does not sleepwalk through their life, but examines it, shapes it, takes responsibility for it. That person wakes up differently. They carry themselves differently. They make decisions differently because they are not just living their life, they are crafting it. Tonight, however this day went, sit with it for 5 minutes. Review it honestly, and then close it with this intention. Tomorrow, I will be more of who I am becoming. That intention, held every night, renewed every morning, is the engine of a transformed life. Bringing it all together. 7 rules, 1 day, a new life. Decide who you are before the world decides for you. Claim your identity every morning before anything else claims your attention. Accept this moment completely, then change it. Stop fighting what cannot be changed and pour everything into what can. Guard your morning like your life depends on it, because the quality of your days is built in the first quiet hours. Do the thing you have been avoiding, one step today toward what you have been carrying undone. Choose peace over being right. Protect your inner state with the same fierceness you would protect anything you love. Be grateful with the ferocity of someone who almost lost everything. Wake up to what you have before life teaches you the hard way. End today as the person you are becoming. Review your day, learn from it, and set your intention for tomorrow. These are not 7 separate rules. They are 7 expressions of one life. A life built on purpose, on self-knowledge, on the quiet, daily, unspectacular courage of someone who has decided that their one life, this one, right now, exactly as it is, deserves to be lived with everything they have. I want you to hear something before we end. You did not stumble onto this video by accident. Something in you is ready. Something in you has been ready for longer than you know. Something in you watched this entire video because it recognizes, even if you cannot fully articulate it yet, that a different life is possible. Not a perfect life, not an easy life, a real one, a chosen one. A life that when you look back on it, from the other end, you will be able to say with honesty, I showed up, I tried. I built something from the inside out. I did not wait for the world to hand me permission. I chose. That choice is available to you right now. Not in some future version of your life when everything is aligned. Right now, today, with what you have as who you are. The Stoics called this eudaimonia, flourishing. Not happiness as a feeling, but as a way of living. The deep, earned satisfaction of a life lived in alignment with your highest values.
That life is not far from you. It is one decision away. Make it today. If something in this video moved you, if something landed, shifted, or reminded you of who you are trying to become, subscribe to Stoic Ascension. This channel is built for people who are serious about transformation. Not the quick kind, the real kind. The kind that happens when ancient wisdom meets honest effort in the life of someone who has decided they are no longer willing to sleepwalk. Every week we go deeper into the philosophy that builds character, into the practices that forge peace, into the thinking that creates the kind of life most people only dream about. Subscribe, hit the bell, come back, because your ascension is not a destination. It is a daily practice, and it starts, again, tomorrow morning. Until next time, live with intention, build with purpose, ascend. Subscribe to Stoic Ascension for weekly content on Stoic philosophy, success, and building a life of peace and purpose.
Learn to keep your mouth shut. The most powerful thing you can do in most situations is say nothing. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you understand something that almost no one around you understands. Words are currency, and most people are bankrupt. They spend words constantly on complaints that change nothing, on arguments that convince no one, on explanations nobody asked for, on opinions that cost them relationships, opportunities, and respect, all for the momentary relief of being heard. And here is the brutal truth. The loudest people in any room are almost never the most powerful people in that room. Power does not announce itself. It does not defend itself. It does not explain itself to people who have already decided not to understand. Power is quiet. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most underrated, most misunderstood, most transformative disciplines in all of Stoic philosophy. The discipline of silence. Not the silence of the defeated, not the silence of the afraid, not the silence of someone who has nothing to offer. The silence of someone who has chosen, deliberately, consciously, with full awareness, to keep their mouth shut. By the time this is over, you will never hear silence the same way again. The problem with talking too much. Let us begin with an honest diagnosis. Most people talk too much, not slightly too much, catastrophically too much. And they do not talk too much because they are foolish. They do it because talking feels good. Talking releases tension. Talking creates the sensation of doing something even when nothing is being done. Talking generates the feeling of connection, of relevance, of existence. But feelings are not always signals of what is wise. Think about the last time you said something you immediately regretted. Maybe it was an argument where you said the one thing you knew would cut the deepest, and you said it anyway because the pressure inside you had to go somewhere. Maybe it was a moment of insecurity where you over-explained yourself to someone who didn't ask, turning confidence into visible desperation. Maybe it was talking about your plans before they were real, sharing your goals, your dreams, your ideas, and watching the energy drain out of them with every conversation. Maybe it was a moment of gossip that felt like connection in the instant and like poison in the aftermath. Every single one of these moments has something in common. The damage was done with your own mouth. Not by an enemy, not by bad luck, by you. By the part of you that has not yet learned the discipline the Stoics considered foundational to wisdom. Know when to speak. Know when to be silent. And understand that the second skill is rarer and more valuable than the first. What the Stoics actually said. Epictetus was a Stoic philosopher who had every reason to be bitter, loud, and demanding. He was born a slave. He had no rights. At some point in his life, his master, reportedly as a test or demonstration of power, twisted Epictetus's leg. Epictetus, without flinching, said calmly, "You are going to break it." The master continued. The leg broke. Epictetus said, "Did I not tell you that you would break it?" This man, who had experienced violence, servitude, and the complete absence of external freedom, became one of the most influential philosophers who ever lived.
And one of the things he taught most insistently was this: we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. He understood something from the inside out. The person who cannot control what comes out of their mouth has no true freedom, regardless of their external circumstances. And the person who masters silence becomes free in a way that no chains can undo. Marcus Aurelius, writing only to himself, returned again and again to the discipline of restraint in speech. He wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Read that again. If it is not true, do not say it. Not just lying, though obviously that, but the broader category. If what you are about to say is not true in the deepest sense, true to your values, true to the moment, true to what actually matters, then close your mouth. Seneca wrote extensively about the danger of aimless conversation. He observed that people who spend their time in constant chatter rarely spend time in genuine thought. And without genuine thought, action becomes reactive, life becomes shallow, and the person who could have been wise becomes instead merely loud. He wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as you can, not as escapism, as discipline, as the practice of a person who understands that the most important conversations you will ever have are the ones that happen in the silence of your own mind." Why silence is power. Let us talk about power in a very practical sense, because some of you are reading this and thinking, but if I stay quiet, people will walk over me. If I don't speak up, I'll be invisible. If I hold back, I'll lose. This is the voice of someone who has confused volume with strength. Watch the most formidable people you have ever encountered. Not the most performative, not the most dramatic, the most genuinely powerful. Notice how they speak. They speak less than the people around them. When they speak, the room changes, not because they have some magical quality of voice, but because what they say is chosen. It is considered. It is not reflexive or impulsive or driven by the need to be heard. And here is the deep mechanics of why silence creates power. When you speak less, each word you speak carries more weight. When you do not fill every silence, other people feel the need to fill it, and they reveal themselves in what they say. When you do not immediately defend yourself against every accusation or criticism, you communicate that you are not controlled by others' opinions. And the person who is not controlled by your opinion is the most difficult person in the world to manipulate. When you do not share everything you know, you retain what the strategist Robert Greene called the element of concealment. The person who has revealed everything has no mystery. The person with no mystery has no power to command attention and consideration. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is a container. It holds what you have not yet spent. And the person who has not spent everything is the person others cannot predict, cannot control, and cannot dismiss.
The 7 situations where you must stay silent. Now we move from philosophy to practice, because knowing that silence is powerful is not the same as knowing when to deploy it. And the Stoics were nothing if not practical. They did not want you to be passive or avoidant. They wanted you to be strategic, intentional, and disciplined. Here are the 7 situations where keeping your mouth shut is not weakness, but wisdom. When you are angry. Anger is the emotion most likely to make your mouth your worst enemy. When you are genuinely angry, your ability to think clearly is compromised. The part of your brain responsible for nuance, consequence, and long-term reasoning has been partially hijacked by the part responsible for immediate survival response. In this state, you will say things you cannot unsay. You will speak in a way that does not represent who you are at your best. And the damage will outlast the anger by months, years, sometimes permanently. The Stoics had a specific practice for this: delay. Not forever, not passive avoidance. Simply, do not speak until the heat has passed. Seneca wrote that when he felt anger rising, he would make himself wait, not to suppress the anger, but to allow enough time for his reason to re-engage, so that if he chose to speak, the words would be chosen rather than expelled. There is almost nothing you need to say in anger that cannot wait 20 minutes. And in 20 minutes, most of what you are going to say will either be better said differently or not worth saying at all. When you are about to explain yourself to someone who has already decided. This is one of the great time thieves of human interaction. There are people in your life and people you will encounter who have formed a conclusion about you, about your choices, about your character. And no amount of explanation, evidence, or eloquence will change that conclusion. They have decided, and the decision gives them something they need. When you encounter the situation and your reflex is to explain, to clarify, to make them understand, pause. Ask yourself, even if I say everything perfectly, will this person be moved? If the honest answer is no, then you are not about to have a conversation. You are about to perform for an audience that has already reviewed you and closed the curtain. Your dignity is not in winning that audience. Your dignity is in recognizing that their approval was never the point. Close your mouth. Let your actions be the argument. Time has a way of making the truth visible that no words can accelerate. When you are tempted to share your plans. This is one of the most important things you will hear if you are someone who creates, builds, or works toward meaningful goals. There is a psychological phenomenon that researchers have documented extensively. When you tell people about your goals, your brain experiences a version of the satisfaction that comes from achieving those goals. The social acknowledgement, the encouragement, the identity of being someone who is going to do something, it delivers a partial reward. And partial rewards reduce motivation. The Stoics understood this intuitively. They counseled doing before speaking, building before announcing, completing before celebrating. Marcus Aurelius, who had unlimited audiences available to him, who could have made every decision into a proclamation, chose to think in private, to process in private, to refine in private, and then to act.
Your goals are not made real by speaking them. They are made real by doing the work, in silence, until there is something worth showing. Keep your mouth shut about what you are building until it is built. When someone wants to pull you into their drama, every social environment has people who organize their emotional life around conflict, crisis, and chaos. Not because they are evil, but because drama creates stimulation, and stimulation fills the void that genuine meaning would otherwise need to fill. These people are not your enemies, but their chaos is not your home. When someone presents you with their drama, the offense they have taken, the battle they are fighting, the sides they need you to choose between, you have options. The Stoic option is often to say very little. A neutral acknowledgement, a quiet refusal to engage with the substance of the conflict, a gentle but clear signaling that you are not available to be recruited. Because here is what most people do not understand about drama. It requires an audience to survive. Remove the audience, and drama starves. When you keep your mouth shut in the presence of someone else's chaos, you are not being cold. You are refusing to be a fuel source for a fire that will eventually consume everything it touches. When you know something others don't, and sharing it won't serve anyone, this is the discipline of selective revelation. The Stoics were deeply invested in truth-telling. They were not advocates for deception or manipulation, but they also understood that not every truth serves every moment. And the impulse to share what you know, particularly if it makes you seem informed, intelligent, or privy to important things, is often more about ego than service.
Before you speak the thing you know, ask, who does this serve? If the honest answer is, primarily it makes me look knowledgeable or important, then the impulse is ego, not wisdom. Information shared at the wrong time, to the wrong person, for the wrong reason, does not make you wise. It makes you careless with what was given to you. Understand the value of what you carry. Protect it. Share it only when sharing genuinely serves. When you are about to give unsolicited advice. This is a discipline most people with intelligence and genuine care find extremely difficult. You can see the problem. You know the solution. The person you love is standing in front of you, making a decision you can see will cost them, and they have not asked for your input. The Stoic counsel here is hard but true. Wait until you are asked. Unsolicited advice, however wise, is almost never received as wisdom. It is received as judgment. It communicates, beneath the surface, that you do not believe the other person is capable of navigating their own life. And that message, even when completely unintentional, damages trust rather than building it. The painful irony is that your silence in these moments is often the thing that eventually earns you the right to be heard. The person who never pushes their perspective becomes the person others seek out when they are genuinely ready to receive it. When you have already made your point.
Say the thing once. Say it clearly, say it well, and then stop. The compulsion to repeat, to elaborate, to come at the same point from 17 different angles, this does not strengthen your position. It weakens it. It signals insecurity. It communicates that you are not confident the point landed, and that uncertainty makes others uncertain as well. The most persuasive people in any room are those who make their case and then go quiet. They let the idea sit. They trust it, and in that trust, they communicate something that repetition never can. I believe what I said. I don't need to perform belief. The idea can stand on its own. Say it once, then silence. Here is what most people miss when they discover the power of silence. Silence is not just the absence of speaking. It is the presence of listening. And listening is the most undervalued intelligence in human interaction. When you genuinely listen, not waiting for your turn, not preparing your response, not evaluating and categorizing in real time, you receive information that most people around you never receive. You hear what is actually being said, not just the surface meaning. You hear the emotion underneath the words. You hear the hesitation and the confidence. You hear what is being avoided as much as what is being offered. You hear the person's real concerns beneath their stated ones. This is not manipulation. This is attunement. It is the Stoic practice of genuinely engaging with what is real, rather than with the story you are already telling about what is happening. Epictetus taught his students that wisdom begins with accurate perception, and accurate perception of another human being requires that you shut down your own transmission long enough to receive theirs. When you become a genuine listener, something remarkable happens to your relationships. People feel understood in a way they rarely experience, and the person who makes others feel genuinely understood becomes, over time, one of the most trusted and valued people in any room. Not because they said all the right things, because they listened in a way that made others feel real. What silence reveals about you? There is a test that most people do not know they are taking. Every time you are under pressure, every time something goes wrong, or someone challenges you, or the situation becomes uncomfortable, the way you handle your mouth reveals your character more completely than almost anything else. The person who lashes out when criticized reveals that their self-image is fragile and defended by attack. The person who over-explains when questioned reveals that they need external validation more than they need internal clarity. The person who gossips when given information reveals that they value social currency more than integrity. The person who boasts when insecure reveals that their confidence is a performance, not a foundation. And the person who stays quiet, who processes, who chooses, who speaks only from a place of genuine intention, reveals something that commands a different kind of respect. They reveal that they are not at the mercy of every impulse that moves through them, that they have an interior life that is not constantly broadcasted, that they trust themselves enough not to need the room's constant confirmation. The Stoics believed that the quality of a person's inner life was the most important fact about them.
And one of the clearest windows into that inner life is not what they say, it is what they choose not to say. Silence, practiced with intention, is a form of self-revelation. It shows the world that there is something inside you worth protecting, worth choosing, worth curating. It shows the world that you are someone who thinks before they speak. And in a world of people who speak before they think, that alone will make you remarkable. The Stoic and speech, finding the balance. Before we go further, let us be precise about something. The Stoic discipline of silence is not a counsel of permanent muteness. It is not the approval of avoidance, passivity, or the refusal to stand for what is right. Marcus Aurelius spoke, often, and with directness and force, when it was required of him. He did not confuse silence with cowardice. Cato the Younger, one of the most celebrated Stoics in Roman political life, was known for his willingness to say true and uncomfortable things in public settings, to stand alone against the tide of popular opinion, to speak up even when speaking up cost him everything. The difference was not how much he spoke, it was why he spoke. He spoke from principle, not from emotion, from consideration, not from impulse, from genuine necessity, not from the need to be heard. The Stoic test for speech is simple and clarifying. Does this need to be said? Does this need to be said by me? Does this need to be said by me right now? If the honest answer to all three questions is yes, speak. Speak clearly, speak directly, and do not flinch. If the honest answer to even one of those questions is no, then silence is not failure. Silence is judgment. And judgment is exactly what the world desperately needs more of. Building the practice. Silence, like every Stoic discipline, is not something you understand once and then possess forever. It is something you build, day by day, situation by situation, one choice at a time. Here is how to begin. Start with observation. Before you try to change what you say, simply notice when you speak. Notice what triggers you to speak. Notice what you feel in the moment before words leave your mouth. Is it intention? Is it impulse? Is it discomfort with silence? Is it the need for validation? Is it habit? Do not judge what you find. Simply see it. Then begin to introduce the pause, not as a performance of composure, as a genuine question. Do I need to say this? The question itself changes the relationship between your impulse and your action. It creates the space Epictetus spoke of between stimulus and response, where your actual freedom lives. Begin to practice with the lower stakes moments, the unnecessary comment, the reflexive opinion about something that does not affect you, the joke that comes at someone else's expense, the oversharing in a conversation where listening would have served everyone better. These small practices accumulate into a different kind of person. Not overnight, but over months, the person who chooses their words begins to find that their words carry more weight, their presence carries more calm, and their relationships carry more depth. And then, eventually, you will find yourself in a high-stakes moment. An argument, an accusation, a provocation, a temptation to speak from your worst self. And you will pause. And the pause will be real because you have been practicing it. And in that moment, you will understand something in your body that no philosophy can fully convey in words. The most powerful thing you did today was the thing you chose not to say. The world needs your silence as much as your voice. I want to close with something that cuts against the current of almost everything culture tells you right now. We live in an era that has mistaken volume for value. Every platform rewards the loudest take, the hottest opinion, the most dramatic reaction. The algorithm does not care whether what you say is wise or true or worth saying. It cares only whether it produces engagement. And outrage, controversy, and impulsive expression produce engagement far more reliably than silence, consideration, and depth. This is not an accident. It is the design of systems that profit from your reactivity. The Stoic response to this environment is not to opt out of the world entirely. It is to refuse to be governed by it. To be, in Epictetus's phrase, a person whose inner citadel, whose private capacity for reason and choice cannot be breached by external noise. Your silence, practiced intentionally, is a political act in this environment. It is a refusal to let the urgency of others dictate the quality of your response. It is a declaration that you will be something rarer and more durable than content. The world does not only need your voice, it needs your wisdom. And wisdom does not always speak. Sometimes wisdom watches, sometimes wisdom listens, sometimes wisdom waits. And then, when the moment arrives, the real moment, the one that matters, wisdom opens its mouth, and what it says changes the room. That is the goal. Not silence forever, not speech always, but the discipline to know the difference and the character to honor what you know. If something in this landed, if you felt the weight of what we covered today, then you already understand why this work matters. Most of the world is getting louder. The people who learn to be more deliberate, more intentional, more disciplined in how they use the power of their words, those are the people who will move through this world with a quiet authority that volume can never manufacture. This is what Stoic Ascension is built for. Subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, because every video here goes deeper into the philosophy and practice that builds the kind of person you actually want to become. The next video is already waiting for you, but for now, sit with what you heard today, in silence. Never be affected. Someone said something about you today. Maybe behind your back. Maybe to your face. Maybe it was a look, a tone, a silence that felt louder than words. And somewhere inside you, something moved. Something tightened. Something burned. Something shifted in a way you didn't choose and couldn't immediately stop. That moment, that involuntary movement inside you, is the battlefield. Not the person who triggered it. Not the situation that caused it. Not the words that were spoken or the injustice that occurred. The battlefield is inside you. And most people spend their entire lives being controlled by that battlefield without ever realizing it is something they can command. Every insult that lands, every failure that haunts, every rejection that replays, every opinion that gets inside and rearranges something, all of it is happening because you have not yet learned the most important skill a human being can possess, the skill of never being affected. Today, that changes. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world. He commanded armies. He governed millions. He held the fate of an empire in his hands every single day for nearly 2 decades. And yet what he wrote about, privately, obsessively, in the journal that became Meditations, was not strategy, not politics, not war. It was this: how do I remain unaffected? How do I face insult without becoming bitter? How do I face loss without becoming broken? How do I face betrayal without becoming hardened? How do I remain, amid everything the world throws at me, completely, utterly, unshakably myself? He wrote, "You have power over your mind,
not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He did not write that because it came naturally to him. He wrote it because he had to remind himself, again and again. Because the pull of the world, the pull to react, to be wounded, to be moved by things outside his control, was constant. And he fought it, every day, with every tool the Stoic philosophy gave him. That is what this video is. It is the tools, the practices, the philosophy that will teach you, slowly and permanently, to never be affected by what was never meant to control you. The nature of being affected. Before we talk about how to stop being affected, we need to understand what being affected actually means. Because most people confuse it with feeling. Being affected is not feeling. Feeling is natural. Feeling is human. The Stoics felt deeply. Grief, joy, love, anger, fear. They were not emotionless. They were not cold. What they refused, what they trained against with tremendous discipline, was being controlled by feeling. There is a difference between experiencing an emotion and being commanded by it. When someone insults you and you feel a flash of anger, that is feeling. That is natural. That is human. When that flash of anger then dictates your words, your actions, your mood for the rest of the day, your opinion of yourself, your relationship with the person, that is being affected. When someone rejects you and you feel the sting of disappointment, that is feeling. When that sting becomes a story you tell yourself for months about your worth, your future, your possibility, that is being affected. Epictetus made this distinction with extraordinary precision.
He said, "People are not disturbed by events, but by the views they take of them. It is never the event itself. It is always the meaning you attach to the event, the story you build around it, the weight you decide to give it. And here is the revelation at the center of Stoic philosophy. You decide that weight. Not consciously at first, not easily at first, but with practice, with the right understanding and the right tools, you decide. That is the beginning of never being affected. Why the world wants you affected. Here is something the Stoics understood that most people in the modern world have completely missed. The world benefits from you being affected. Think about that carefully. Every system built around your attention, every piece of media, every social platform, every political narrative, every advertisement is engineered specifically to affect you, to make you feel outrage, fear, insecurity, longing, comparison, urgency. Because an affected person is a reactive person, and a reactive person is a controllable person. When you are outraged, you click, you share, you comment, you consume more outrage. When you are insecure, you buy, you compare, you seek validation. When you are afraid, you comply, you shrink, you give up power. The affected person is the most predictable person in the room, and the world has spent billions of dollars figuring out exactly how to keep you affected. Seneca saw this dynamic, not in social media, but in the crowds, the politics, and the spectacles of Rome, and he wrote, "Retire as much as you can into yourself, and receive in your company those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those who you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." His prescription for a world designed to pull you apart? Pull inward, deliberately, fiercely, consistently. Not in isolation, not in ignorance of the world, but with the radical awareness that your attention and your emotional state are the most valuable things you possess, and the world is constantly trying to take them from you for free. Protecting those things, choosing what affects you, is not passivity. It is the most powerful act of rebellion available to a human being. The first practice, the pause. Every person who has ever mastered their emotional state will tell you the same thing. It begins with a pause. Not a long pause, not a dramatic pause, a single breath. A half second, a moment between what happens and what you do about it. The Stoics called this space the ruling faculty, the part of your mind that observes, evaluates, and chooses. They believed this faculty was the most divine thing about a human being, the thing that separated us from animals driven purely by instinct, and they trained it relentlessly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." That instruction, simple as it sounds, is one of the most powerful practices in the entire Stoic tradition. Because most of the time when you are affected, you are not responding to what is actually happening right now. You are responding to your memory of every similar thing that has ever happened before. You are responding to your fear of what this might mean for the future. You are responding to a story that began long before this moment. The pause brings you back to the present, to what is actually here, to what is actually true right now, not what was true then, not what might be true later. Practice it this week.
The next time something tries to affect you,
Before you respond, before you react, before you speak or act or spiral, pause. One breath. And in that breath ask, what is actually happening right now? Not what does this remind me of? Not what does this mean about my future? What is happening right now? That single question, asked from inside a single breath, will begin to dissolve the automatic power that outside events have over your inner state. It will not happen instantly. It will not be perfect, but it will begin. And the beginning is everything. The second practice, the view from above. The Stoics had a practice they called the view from above. Imagine lifting yourself, your consciousness, your perspective, out of the immediate moment, rising above it, until you can see not just this situation, but your entire life, your entire city, your entire civilization, the entire arc of human history. From that height, how significant is the insult that was just thrown at you? From that height, how consuming is the rejection you just experienced? From that height, how permanent does this failure feel? Marcus Aurelius used this practice constantly. He would pull his perspective back until what felt enormous became small, until what felt urgent became fleeting, until what felt like the end revealed itself as just another moment in a vastly longer story. He wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." How many a Chrysippus, how many a Socrates, how many an Epictetus, how many others like them have time already swallowed up? Every person who ever felt what you are feeling right now, every person who was wounded by this exact kind of wound, consumed by this exact kind of fear, shaken by this exact kind of blow, time has already swallowed them. This moment will pass, not as a dismissal of its significance, but as a reminder that your emotional state, right now, as real as it feels, is not the final word on who you are or what your life means. Use this practice when the weight feels unbearable. Rise above it, not to escape it, but to see it for what it actually is, a moment, in a much larger story that you are still writing. The third practice, separating event from meaning. This is the practice that will fundamentally change how you process everything that happens to you. The Stoics made a radical distinction between two things that most people treat as one, the event and the meaning of the event. When someone criticizes your work, that is the event. A set of words, sounds, letters, that is all. Everything after that, the shame, the defensiveness, the self-doubt, the anger, the validation-seeking, that is the meaning, the story you attach to the event. And here is the truth that changes everything. The event is fixed. The meaning is chosen. Not easily, not automatically, but chosen. Epictetus taught his students to practice what he called phantasia cataleptic, the disciplined examination of every impression that arises in the mind. Before accepting any impression as true, before allowing any event to mean something, examine it. Ask, is this actually true?
Or is this just the story I am constructing from a set of facts that could mean many different things? Someone didn't reply to your message. That is the event. They hate you. That is one meaning, a meaning you chose. They are busy. That is another. They didn't see it. Another. They are struggling with something entirely unrelated to you. Another. One event, infinite possible meanings.
And the meaning you choose, almost always automatically, almost always unconsciously, becomes your emotional reality. Begin to catch yourself in the moment of meaning-making, not to deny the event, to examine the meaning. Because 9 times out of 10, the meaning that is hurting you is not the only interpretation available. It is simply the most familiar one. The fourth practice, building an unaffected identity. Here is where we go beneath the surface, because all the practices in the world will only carry you so far if your identity is still built on external validation. If your sense of who you are depends on how people treat you, then every slight becomes a threat to your existence. If your sense of worth depends on your results, then every failure becomes an identity crisis. If your sense of safety depends on being liked, then every disapproval becomes an emergency. The Stoics understood that the deepest root of being affected is this: tying your identity to things outside yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." Self-respect, not other respect, not approval respect. The kind of respect that comes from inside, from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you will and will not do, regardless of what the world offers or threatens. When your identity is rooted in your values, in your character, your commitments, your integrity, then what happens outside you cannot touch what you are inside. Someone insults your intelligence. If your identity is rooted in external validation, that lands, it wounds, it affects. But if your identity is rooted in your commitment to lifelong learning, in the Stoic value of always seeking wisdom, then their opinion is simply irrelevant data. It cannot find purchase because there is no wound there to open. This is not built overnight. It is built to consistent, deliberate choices about what you anchor your sense of self to. Anchor it to your values, your disciplines, your effort, your character, and watch how little the world's opinion can move you.
The fifth practice, amorphity. Love what happens. This is the most advanced and most liberating of all the Stoic teachings. The Romans called it amor fati, love of fate. Not acceptance of fate, not tolerance of fate, not resigned endurance of fate. Love. The active, chosen, deliberate embrace of everything that happens, including the painful things, the unwanted things, the things that break you open and leave you wondering how you will put yourself back together. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." A blazing fire. The Stoic ideal was not a person who never encountered difficulty. It was a person who had become so practiced at using difficulty that they were genuinely grateful for it. Not because pain is pleasant, because they understood at the deepest level that every difficult thing that has ever happened to them had made them more of who they needed to become. Every betrayal had sharpened their discernment. Every failure had refined their approach. Every rejection had redirected them towards something more aligned. Every wound had revealed something they needed to examine and heal. When you reach amor fati, when you genuinely arrive at the place where you can look at hardship and say, with sincerity, "This is exactly what I needed," you have become truly unaffected. Not because nothing happens to you, but because everything that happens to you is now working for you. This is the pinnacle. And the path to it is every practice we have walked through together today. The pause, the view from above, the separation of event from meaning, the unaffected identity. All of it leads here, to a life where nothing the world throws at you is wasted, where every blow becomes a building block, where every storm strengthens the fortress rather than breaking it. That is amor fati. That is what it means to never be affected. The long walk. I want to be honest with you about something. This is not a destination you reach and then stay. There will be days, Even after years of this practice, when something gets through, when someone's words find an old wound you thought was healed, when a failure hits harder than you expected, when the world moves something inside you that you thought was immovable, do not be ashamed of those days. Marcus Aurelius, who spent 20 years practicing Stoic philosophy with more discipline than almost any human being in history, still had to remind himself of these principles daily, still fell short, still wrote the same lessons to himself again and again. The practice is not a ladder you climb and leave behind. It is a discipline you return to. Every morning, every difficult conversation, every moment of temptation to react, to be wounded, to give away your peace to something that doesn't deserve it. You return. You practice, you fall short, you return again. And over time, slowly, imperceptibly, and then suddenly all at once, you notice that things that once consumed you now barely register, that provocations that once kept you awake now dissolve by morning, that your baseline state, the place you return to when the noise settles, is calmer than it has ever been. That is not enlightenment. That is practice. And you are capable of it. The world will always try to affect you.
It will always send people who push your buttons, situations that test your patience, failures that challenge your belief in yourself, and noise that tries to drown out your own clarity. It will never stop, but you can change how you meet it. You can build the pause, you can develop the view from above, you can separate event from meaning, you can root your identity in what is unshakable. You can move step by step toward the love of everything that comes, and the person who walks that path consistently, imperfectly, courageously becomes something rare, someone the world cannot move, someone who has found inside the chaos of living a stillness that no one can take. That is the person you are becoming. Never be affected. Not because nothing matters, but because you have decided what matters, and you will not give that decision to anyone else. If this reached something real in you, I want to make you one request. Subscribe to Stoic Ascension. This channel is built for people who are serious, not about hype, not about shortcuts, about the real, ancient, tested work of becoming someone who cannot be shaken. Every week we go deeper into the philosophy, into the practice, into the kind of thinking that changes not just how you feel, but who you are. Subscribe, ring the bell, come back, because this work, the work of never being affected, is the work of a lifetime, and you do not have to walk it alone. Until next time, guard your mind, guard your peace, guard your ascension.
5 self-care habits to love yourself. When was the last time you were genuinely kind to yourself? Not a treat, not a distraction, not a temporary escape from the pressure you're under. When was the last time you looked at who you are, what you carry, and what you're trying to build, and said quietly, honestly, I am proud of this person? For most people, that moment is rare or non-existent, and yet, every single day, you pour yourself into the world, into work, into relationships, into responsibilities, into the needs and expectations of everyone around you. You give and give and give, and somewhere along the way, you forgot to give any of that to yourself. The Stoics had a word for this. They called it neglect of the self, and they considered it one of the greatest failures a person could commit. Not because you should be selfish, but because you cannot build a great life from an empty foundation. Today, we are going to change that. These are the 5 self-care habits that will teach you slowly, powerfully, and permanently how to love yourself the way the Stoics believed every person of virtue deserves to. Stay with me. This one matters. Before we go any further, I need to say something clearly. Self-love in the Stoic tradition is not what modern culture has made it. It is not bubble baths and affirmations. It is not buying yourself things or telling yourself you are perfect. The Stoics were honest, fiercely honest, and their version of self-love was built on that honesty. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, and do so with all your heart. Notice, he said love the people fate brings you together with, and one of those people is you, the self you were given, the life you are living, the mind inside your own body. Loving yourself, to the Stoics, meant taking your own inner life seriously, tending to it, strengthening it, treating it with the same respect you would offer to someone you deeply admire. That is what self-care really means. Not escape, investment, not indulgence, discipline with compassion. These 5 habits are your investment. Let's begin. Habit 1. Silence your inner critic with truth. The first habit is one most people have never been taught. Learning to speak to yourself with honesty instead of cruelty. There is a voice inside your head. You know the one. The voice that says you're not doing enough, that you're behind where you should be, that other people are ahead of you, that you said the wrong thing, made the wrong choice, wasted too much time, and are fundamentally not enough. Most people live with that voice as if it is the truth. It is not. It is a habit. A deeply practiced, deeply automatic habit of self-directed cruelty that most of us developed in childhood and never questioned. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by the things which happen, but by the opinions about the things." The opinion you carry about yourself, that is the thing disturbing your peace, not your circumstances. Your story about your circumstances. Now, here is what makes the Stoic approach different from toxic positivity. The Stoics did not say ignore your flaws. They said examine them honestly and then respond with reason, not with punishment. When you make a mistake, ask, what can I learn here? How do I improve? What does wisdom say about this? Do not ask, what is wrong with me? Why am I always like this? Will I ever get it right?
The first set of questions builds you. The second tears you down. Love yourself enough to hold yourself accountable without destroying yourself in the process. That is the discipline of the inner voice. Master it, and the world loses its power to shake you, because the harshest critic you face will finally be on your side. Habit 2. Protect your energy like it is sacred. The Stoics understood something that modern productivity culture has almost completely missed. Your energy is not unlimited, and how you spend it is one of the most important decisions you make every single day. Not just physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy, the invisible currency of your attention and care. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." And one of the greatest barriers to truly living is spending your energy on everything except what matters most. Think about where your energy goes on an average day. To conversations that drain you but feel obligatory, to worry about things you cannot change, to people who take without giving, to comparison, to resentment, to regret. Now, think about what gets the energy that is left over. Your health, your growth, your relationships that truly nourish you, your craft, your peace. For most people, the things that matter most receive the least. Self-care is reordering that equation. It means learning to say no, not out of selfishness, but out of self-respect. It means recognizing that every yes you give to something that depletes you is a no to something that builds you. The Stoic practice here is called selective engagement. You choose, consciously, deliberately, where your energy flows. Start small. This week, identify one place your energy is going that is genuinely costing you more than it gives. One commitment made out of obligation rather than genuine care. One habit that drains rather than fills. And make one change. Not 10 changes, one. Loving yourself means treating your energy as the sacred, finite, irreplaceable resource it is. Habit 3. Care for your body as the temple of your mind. The Stoics were not solely focused on the mind. They understood something profound, that the mind does not float independently of the body. It lives inside it. It is shaped by it. It is either supported or sabotaged by it every single day. Musonius Rufus, one of the most practical Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the discipline of the body. He argued that physical hardship and physical care were not separate from philosophy, they were part of it. He wrote, "The philosopher's way of life is not in words but in deeds. And the most visible deed, the one performed most consistently, is how you treat your physical self. Sleep, not as a luxury, as a non-negotiable act of self-respect. When you consistently deprive yourself of sleep, you are not being disciplined. You are being careless with the most important tool you possess. Movement. Your body was built to move, not to perform, to move. A daily walk is not laziness, it is maintenance, it is clarity. The Stoics famously walked while they philosophized. Motion and thought were not separate. Nourishment. What you put into your body is a daily vote on what you think you are worth. These are not aesthetic concerns, they are philosophical ones. Loving yourself means treating your body with the same intentionality you bring to your most important work. Because it is your most important work. Everything else depends on it. Habit 4. Build a relationship with your own mind. Here is the habit that will transform everything else, and yet it is the one most people avoid most aggressively. Spending time alone with yourself. Genuinely alone. Without distraction, without entertainment, without anyone else's thoughts filling the space. Just you and your own mind. This terrifies most people, and that terror is the point. We live in a culture that is addicted to stimulation. We cannot wait in a line without pulling out a phone. We cannot fall asleep without a screen. We cannot eat alone without something playing in the background. We are running from ourselves constantly, and we call it productivity. We call it entertainment. We call it staying connected. The Stoics had a different name for it. They called it avoidance of the self. And they considered it one of the great spiritual failures. Seneca wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as you can. Not permanently, not in isolation, but regularly, deliberately. Because the person who cannot be alone with themselves is dependent on the external world for their sense of peace. They need noise to feel calm. They need distraction to feel okay. They need other people's energy to feel alive. That is not strength. That is a beautiful form of helplessness." The practice here is simple but demanding. 10 minutes a day. No phone, no music, no content. Sit with your thoughts. Let them move through you. Notice what rises. Notice what hurts. Notice what excites you when no one else is watching. In that space, you will meet yourself, perhaps for the first time. And what you find there, however messy, however uncertain, however unfinished, is worthy of your love. Habit 5. Commit to your own growth without apology. This is the deepest act of self-love in the entire Stoic tradition. Committing to your own becoming. Not for approval, not for recognition, not to prove something to someone who doubted you, for you. Because you believe your life is worth investing in. Because you take your own potential seriously. Because you understand that the greatest gift you can give the world is a fully developed, deeply intentional version of yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That is not arrogance. That is commitment. So many people spend their lives waiting for permission to grow. Waiting until the circumstances are right, until they feel ready, until someone believes in them enough to make it real.
They are waiting for love from the outside before they invest in themselves on the inside. And that is the cycle self-love breaks. When you commit to your growth, reading, learning, practicing, stretching, failing, and rising, you are saying something to yourself that no one else can say for you. You are worth becoming. Not the finished version. The version that shows up today, imperfect and in progress, and tries anyway. Loving yourself means taking your own potential seriously enough to act on it. Daily, without waiting for conditions to be perfect, without waiting for the world to hand you permission. The Stoics believed in continuous self-improvement, not as a path to superiority, but as a path to virtue. To becoming the most complete, most honest, most alive version of yourself. That is what you owe yourself. Not praise, not ease. Investment.
Daily, disciplined, loving investment in who you are becoming. Bringing it all together. Let me bring these 5 habits together for you. Silence your inner critic with truth, not cruelty. Hold yourself accountable the way a great mentor would, firmly and with care. Protect your energy like it is sacred, because it is. Every choice about where your energy flows is a statement about what you believe you are worth. Care for your body as the temple of your mind. Sleep, move, nourish. Not for appearance, for function, for life. Build a relationship with your own mind. Sit with yourself in silence. Learn who you actually are beneath the noise. Love what you find there. Commit to your own growth without apology. Take your potential seriously. Show up for yourself every single day. These are not 5 separate habits. They are 5 expressions of one decision. The decision to take your own life seriously. To treat yourself as someone worth caring for. To stop waiting for the world to love you first and begin, right now, from the inside out. I want to say something to you directly before we close. If you have spent years putting yourself last, this will not change overnight. There will be days when the inner critic is loud, when you give your energy away and regret it, when you skip the silence and reach for the distraction, when growth feels impossible and your own potential feels like a lie. That is not failure. That is the work. The Stoics never promised ease. They promised something better. Meaning, clarity, the quiet, unshakable dignity of a life lived on purpose. And that dignity begins with you, with how you treat yourself when no one is watching, with the conversation you have with yourself when the room is quiet. Choose compassion, choose honesty, choose growth. Not once, every day. If something in this video moved something in you, I want you to do one thing. Subscribe to Stoic Ascension. This channel exists for one reason, to help you rise. Into clarity, into discipline, into the kind of self-respect that cannot be given to you by another person, only built by you, from the inside. Every video here is a step in that direction. So subscribe. Come back. Keep building. You deserve to love the life you are living, and it starts with loving the person living it. Until next time, take care of your mind. Take care of your body. Take care of yourself.